Well, welcome back to the conversation. As I said earlier, I am spending time here with Dr. Njeri Weru. She's been talking to us about her experience and the inspiration behind a very powerful book that she wrote titled Dignified Despite Divorce, Lessons of Encouragement and Hope. And she's shed light on things that are quite heavy and useful. Dr. Njeri, when I listen to you talk, I feel like I'm taking medicine from somebody who's been through a situation and now speaks to us as a survivor, which is very powerful. But survivor accounts are not to be taken lightly because they are not speaking theory. They are talking about things that they have been through and they have felt the pain.
Yeah.
You wrote this book, and I have read the book. I'm not divorced myself, but when I read the book, I get so much value from the wisdom that you share, because you didn't just talk about divorce, you talked about family and how it starts and all those dynamics and covered quite a number of things. So before we go into the details of the book, what is your hope for this book? And how do you hope that it will, impact the audiences you're speaking to, those who maybe have been through divorce, or those who are not going through divorce, they're just doing their life, but these useful lessons for them here as well.
For me, the book, you've rightly said, it's not just about divorce. My hope is that it is a book that anybody going through different curveballs of life, curveballs that have gotten them to a point of self-questioning, would then stop and get something that helps them to move forward. My hope is that somebody who has got a job loss or a business that has burnt down or facing death of a loved one so dear and doesn't know where to start, that they would find a sentence here and there that helps them to stand and move forward. So it is curveballs. Yes, for me, the trigger was a divorce. But it's not the only thing that I do hope. And so thank you for bringing that up, that one doesn't have to go through divorce. The book is very much on transitions and how to step into that new space and new season that you find yourself in. My book is about saying there's a tomorrow. Yes, right now it looks so dark, but joy comes in the morning. There will be a morning that there will be no darkness again. And that's what we need to sort of keep reaching out, whether it's from a health struggle, whether it's a family situation, whether it's a job situation, whether it's a child issue, whatever it is, that we can still keep hoping. I like thinking of myself as a voice of hope in just encouraging people to look into a tomorrow, a different perspective of where we are. I do hope that when people pick this book, they will find a call to being resilient, not to give up, not because it's easy, but because there is a hope that tomorrow will not be today. And how today looks is not necessarily how tomorrow will be. It is an invitation to the leader to believe more, to believe that there is still good that would come out of the difficulties that today does present. It's an invitation to the leader, to the reader who is going to read it, to stop and say, I can lead myself differently. Yes, I have gotten this far, but this has not worked. Is there something else then that I can do? It's an invitation to say you're not walking alone. It's an assurance. Others have walked through it. And I pray that through the pages of this book, there will be one who will stop and say, that I can come out of this without looking like where I'm coming from, without smelling the smoke that I've been through. So my hope is that this book draws people into a new space of life where they lead themselves differently. They don't just read my book, but lead themselves then very differently as they face out. I pray that my book will be a companion for those very dark moments when you don't know where to come out of the space you found yourself in. But it will dangle a small string that allows you to look up. And that looking up means there is hope, there is light that I can actually follow. So I offer it as a companion of hope. I offer it as an encouragement. And I offer this book simply to tell the one person who needs to be heard, who needs to be seen, as the dedication has been given of the book, that they're being heard, they're being seen, they're not invisible. There is a space for them in the world. Beyond that particular space they're in, there's a space for them that they can rise into and speak about it with strength and even with a deeper satisfaction within themselves. I made it through. Yes.
Wow, I like the way you have put it, so that it is not a book about you're not lamenting, you're not cursing, it's not about pain. It's about speaking life and wisdom into whoever is going to invest themselves in this, and you're desiring that whoever comes in contact with the book does better because of the lessons that you're sharing here. Now, I want you to walk us through this book, because every chapter of the book has its weight and it has its own juice, because I've read. Of course, some of them are very, very, very emotional when somebody reads and they get to hear what has happened. But at the end of it, I like the way you crown it with a word of encouragement and hope. So I want you to walk us through. The book has 10 chapters.
Okay.
10 beautifully crafted chapters, I would say so. Chapter 1, you open the book by boldly claiming that 2 are better than 1. Yet you are going to look at these whole issues that would happen in a situation where 2 have become 1. So just share with us what is the message in that chapter.
Let me confess that when divorce happened, and as I went through the tunnels of darkness and struggle, I realized that I didn't enjoy watching weddings. There was a part of me that was hurting as I watched people get married. There was a part of me that was maybe getting cynical. You don't know what you're getting into. So there was a part of me that needed healing. But as I got to write this, I write it again from my Christian perspective, where I stop and I know that it's God's way of family, male and female. It's God's way of keeping a society. And God has always worked through families. There are beautiful things of marriages. And I can honestly say my 30 years of marriage were not all bad. There was some beauty of it. And that beauty of a marriage comes in elements of companionship, in elements of love, in elements of raising and doing life together. There is that is beautiful. And that is by the ordinances of God. So this book is not about bashing marriage. In fact, it is even, I would pray for people who are into marriages, that they keep their marriage and work on them, that they succeed, because that's God's blueprint for families and life. And I needed to put it right there at the front to say it is not a fight. I still know that there was beauty, there was strength, there was love, there are memories that were created. And yes, we all need company. So it was sort of putting my faith out there that despite what has happened in my life, the pain of divorce and all that it has been, it doesn't have the final word. I know what is true and what is right. And I'll still choose to the truth and the right, regardless of my pain. Does that sort of bring out something?
Well, thank you. Thank you for bringing that out. And I like the fact that that you even intentionally decided to like open the book with that, so that like you have correctly said, it's not about bashing marriages or rubbishing that. Yeah. Thank you so very much. Now, chapter 2, you talk about giving it all.
Why I titled that passage Giving It All is also because when you get into a marriage, you don't get into a marriage to break it. You don't walk down that aisle saying, one day I'll get divorced. You go into it with, this is my future, this is my life. I'll give it my very best.
That's right.
And because then I felt I gave it my very best, I wanted it to survive. Giving it all also comes from a lesson I have learned as I've gone through these years and looking back and saying, I have no regrets. Because if I had never given my all, then I would have moments when I would be telling myself, I maybe should have. But I don't have that. Somebody did ask, why did you have to stay until 30 years and everything? But I'm glad I did. Because it was part of my giving it all. It was part of giving this marriage a chance. And to grow in it, because I wasn't looking elsewhere. I was committed to this. And maybe just as a word here, I would say, if you don't give it all, then you might live in regret and never forgive yourself. And always, because it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be rosy as we think, across the fence. And in those moments of being alone, in those moments you ask yourself questions, then you have to stop and say, what was my part in it? And if my part in it says there was more that you did not give, or there's this that you withheld, then the guilt that you carry really cannot be taken away by anybody else. So by giving it all, it's like, do your very best in the situation that you're in. Because divorce is not a good choice to go through. But if it does happen, then you can still stop and say, there was nothing I could have done that I did not do. And so I don't carry any baggage of a failure. It's an event that happened. Yes.
Wow. Giving it all. That's such a powerful thing you just taught there, because I think when life is lived that way on all fronts, even if things don't work, you walk out with dignity, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow. That's powerful. Chapter 3, pushed by pain.
In pushed by pain, I would say it's not the choice you want to make, but it's so painful in here. And it's where it's either jumping out or dying in it. So which is which? And again, I keep saying divorce should not be an obvious choice, because I've lived it and I know the pain of it. But on the other hand, if where you are is also boiling hot, now do you stay there? or do you jump?
You have to jump.
It's where a decision is made out of a situation that's unbearable, a situation that's not building you, a situation that's breaking you, a situation that makes you forget who you are. If I remember correctly, and I think I've mentioned it in the book, by the time I went through the divorce, I was so broken. My confidence was so broken that I didn't have the confidence to make simple decisions of life. I used to be a very confident girl, but I had gotten to a level of inconfidence and lack of confidence that I could not even make decisions. It's like anything you say is not right. You know, like the words that I said, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And that breaks the core of who you are. So do you choose to be broken and find myself in a mental hospital? Because something in me is still saying there's more for you than this. There's more in you than this. So do I want to allow myself to be so broken that I can never pick myself up? Or do I want to choose to see what else the other side would hold? So it's not a decision that you make out of leisure because you want to try and just see how outside there will be. But it's sort of a decision, I would say, when you really come to the dead end. And there is so much pain, there's so much loss, so much confusion, so much darkness in it, that it's pushing you into only the single ray of hope that you can hold on to. Or at least, if nothing else, keeping your sanity. Many women would say they stayed in a marriage because of the children. And they end up then suffering so much. And some of them die leaving those children. Or they become non-functional in their own lives as the women. But there are also others who will leave because of the children. Because I want to give my children something different. And to give them an opportunity. So it's being pushed by the circumstances. It's not one of those things that you toss a coin and pick. No. It's walking, kicking, and hitting, and yeah.
Wow. And you know, there's so much. There's so many aspects of life that have this aspect of pain. But you've said something very powerful. If it gets to a place where it is beginning to mess with the core of who you are, to the place of nearly obliterating you, then it is better to choose life.
Yes, choose life.
Wow. Choose life. Now, if you have any questions for Dr. Njeri Weru, there are contacts in the comment section. You can reach out to her and just, you know, put your questions to her directly. But of course, we're also going to be careful to watch the comments. If you have any your thoughts, your feedback about this whole conversation, just drop it on the comment section. We should be able to respond to that. We are discussing, she's actually taking us through the contents of her book, Dignified Despite Divorce, Lessons of Encouragement and Hope. And now you have the D word in chapter 4. Why did you call this the D word? And what is your message for the audience in chapter 4?
I think I've referenced it in the book, and I said, one of my children asked me, "Mommy, haven't you ever heard of the D word?" And so normally when you hear the D words, you're talking of defeat, despair, disappointment, death, divorce. distraction,
Yes.
you know.
Mm.
The D doesn't really come with a beautiful thing.
Mm.
But for me, that chapter is about the conflict of picking on that D word of divorce.
Mm.
As a Christian woman, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. How then can I be divorced?
Mm.
The conflict of it.
Mm.
But the conflict of it in the eyes of many others, not necessarily in my own eyes, and not necessarily, thankfully, in my Father's eyes, my Father God, who sees me as I am. And so it was a confrontation of that moment of society, of choosing to go a different route, of choosing to say, yes, it's not what I wanted, but then again, it's where I am. And it's where I'm going to make my lemonade. It wasn't a choice, but just the mention of a divorce in our culture is still such a big thing. And many people stay in a relationship that's killing them, men and women too. Not just women, even men. All because of the shame, of the rejection, of the fear of how the society will look at you now that you have a D label. So if anything, I think that was the most difficult and determining moment of saying you're not walking into it with your eyes closed, but walking into it with clarity that this is going to define my life differently, to define my relationships with many people, including family, differently. It's going to define my children differently. It changes. So sort of it's a line that I'm crossing. But getting to the point of that decision to cross that line, it's not an easy journey. It's not an easy moment. It's not a choice with joy. It's a choice with tears. It's a choice again with hope that the space I am in is bad, but there could be a better place. So let's find out what the better place is. But just, I've titled it the D word because of the emotions, the thoughts that come with just the word divorce. To the individual and to the society too.
Yeah.
But more so to the individual who then has to face that discrimination. The individual who, I don't know why the government never allows us to just write single or married, and they push you into single by married, single, never married, single by death, single by divorce. Why do I have to go through all that? You know, so it doesn't become easy to take that journey, but it's a commitment to. It's my only hope at the moment.
Oh, that's quite powerful. The statement you have used, how can you be divorced when you're a Christian, when there is a God on your side, when you've been married for this long, when there are children in the mix, when you have done all these things together, when we have known you this way? Wow.
I think that's mentioned somewhere in the book.
Yes, you have. So whoever wants to get to know more about that and what you're saying should definitely grab a copy of the book. We're discussing Dignified Despite Divorce by Dr. Njeri Weru. She's just taking us through the book, giving us, the thinking behind the chapters and the lessons that she has for you in each of those chapters. So then you did chapter 5, facing adversity.
I believe in that chapter, I've also used the word death.
Yes, adversity stroke death, yeah.
So through the process of getting to the point of a divorce, it's a process, and it's an active process. Difficult in terms of emotions. It's in and out, in and out, in and out. But finally, there is a divorce. And you've got to stop and look at that, what has happened in your life, and be cognizant of what that means. And part of that for me was an acknowledgement that I had dreams that died.
Yes.
I had a hope of other things that were to be that died. I had invested myself, my life, into something that wasn't living anymore. And I dare say to anybody having to go through some of these challenges, it is so important to sit down and sort of count the cost. Because when you count the cost, then you're not taken by surprise. It is stopping and saying, this is what I desired, this is what I thought, but I can't anymore. And the sad thing is that unlike where there is a physical death and you have mourners and supporters, not in a divorce.
All by yourself.
It's all by yourself. In fact, even those who would want to help you cannot be seen with you because they don't want to be identified with what you're going through. So it is simply getting to that point again of telling myself, what does this loss mean to me? And now that I have lost it, I might never rebuild it again. Yes. There are those who end up getting remarried and all.
Yes.
But even if you get remarried, it's not the same relationship. So it's again accepting that door has closed, but it has closed with what and what and what. So that as I step out, I am aware that I'm stepping out without this. It's part of my life, yes. I will always remember that part of my life, the beautiful memories that were there, the photos. You know, there are things that you can't take away. But at the same time, it's saying, yes, they served their time. They served their time. And that chapter for me is also important in having to go further and start thinking of the individual still lives on. There will be situations where you end up being in the same space. So how does that relationship still work? So when I say it doesn't end in a day, it's not a decision in a minute, it's a lifetime. It's a lifetime. But a lifetime of, yes, I acknowledge this has died. This has ended. And so the next time I'm interacting with these people that knew me in this marriage, the relationship has to be different. Because again, the construct of our relationship before doesn't exist anymore.
Yes.
And I have found that acknowledgement powerful, so much so that one is able to draw boundaries. I can only come this far. I will talk to these people in this way. Anybody bringing up this other conversation, I'm not interested. You know, and cutting it, because then you have the clarity within yourself of what died. Maybe I've explained a lot in that.
That's so powerful. There's two things you said there that are very powerful, which I think anybody listening to this conversation can really benefit from. That when you count the cost, you don't get surprised. And then secondly, when you've come to a place where the thing you're building has died, but you're still alive, it is better to consider that door shut, pick your life up, and keep moving.
Yes.
That's quite powerful. Now, if you're watching this conversation, perhaps by now you're wondering, where can I get this book? How do I get it? Now, if you're within Kenya, you can get a copy of this book from Nuria Bookstore. You just Google Nuria, you will see, and then you search within their website. If you're outside Kenya, you can easily get this book from Amazon. Just go to amazon.com, search Dignified Despite Divorce. The book will pop up, then you can grab yourself a copy. And would be very, very keen to hear from you. If you ever get an opportunity to read, just come back to this conversation and drop your comment there. Let's hear what you are learning from the book. You can also share your insights or your thoughts about this conversation today. Get us to know what you are picking from this, because for me, I think I'm really loving the conversation and the lessons that I'm learning from this. Now, chapter 6. Chapter 6 talks about one of the obvious things that happens in a situation like this, the pain of loneliness.
So loneliness is part of the consequence
Yes.
of the choice that you've made.
Yes.
Or the journey that you've taken. And we do a lot of things to dull that pain of loneliness. But it's the more important thing is acknowledging that, yes, the house is quieter.
Yes.
Yes, maybe you had children that were living with you, but now they have left. And yes, I have all myself and nobody else but to look and to do life with. And my desire in addressing this chapter is that we do not try to numb that pain. Because for as long as we are numbing that pain, we are applying some elastoplast, some first aid of sorts. But that doesn't take away the wound. It is also inviting the individual to sit in that loneliness, to sit in it and say, yeah, this is how I feel. I don't feel good about it. But what is it that I do that wakes me up? Again, it's part of the self-discovery. Because I'm lonely, because I was used to having somebody with me or having people around me, but now I don't. So what does this opportunity accord me? It's an acknowledgement of what has also been lost. But again, it's an invitation for a redefinition. And being aware that if you do not handle this again, people will end up in mental hospitals. And people will be wondering why you should take care of yourself. Really, nobody else cares. Very few people want to be part of what's happening. So it's a call to be very conscious of yourself and say, this is what gets me lonely. Now, you can't be feeling lonely and then all you end up doing is to go back and start looking at the old photos. You'll be like, yeah. You're simply getting yourself deeper into the hole. It's not denying that there were beautiful times, but it's saying that season closed. What can I pick from that season that I can take into where I'm going to? But as human beings, we all crave companionship. So it's simply a warning, I think, that don't be surprised if you're lonely, but don't try to numb it also. Confront it. And by the grace of God, each day there's growth. Each day it's different. You start knowing when this feeling starts coming, this is maybe what I could do. This is what I enjoy doing. Maybe just playing some loud music in the house and getting into some beautiful dancing, whatever it is that feeds your soul. Because then it's a craving of the soul. Yeah.
By the time you're doing 30 years in marriage, you definitely have forgotten so much about being alone by yourself.
Yes.
So it's possible that very many people struggle with this because of what you had earlier called getting accustomed to. Because what marriage does actually is to bring a companion into your life, and make them part of you. So if you move left, most likely they are moving left with you, or they are checking on you while you're moving left. But then suddenly you find yourself here, and I think this could be one of the reasons that really contributes to the you know, the depression and, you know, the confusion that comes from separation. And as we said earlier, it's not just separating from the people you loved. It could be even separating from the job you worked 20, 30 years, or the property you owned, or, you know, these things that were so dear to you. Then you separate. Suddenly you fall into loneliness.
For me, I think it was one thing that also drew me deeper into just knowing in my knower that my greatest companion is God. And there is this verse that says there's a friend who sticks closer than a brother.
Yes.
And that now has new meaning. Not because it's written, but because I've lived it. So it depends on where you take that loneliness. If I take that loneliness to just keeping myself so surrounded, a lot of noise, when that noise is taken away, again, I'll still find myself lonely. But I learned to take that moment of loneliness of like, Lord, I'm here, and all I need is a hug. And talk to God about it. And His Holy Spirit hugs. So it's how you you acknowledge it and how you redirect it. Knowing pretty well it's part of the journey towards some healing or to the different life that you're now going to be living.
Yes. Wow, that's quite powerful. And fittingly so, chapter 7 now brings in the subject of completing Him. Well, you know, one of the questions that comes to mind when people are going through sufferings and the troubles of life is the question, where is God? God, why are you silent on me? Or is this you punishing? And then you come here and say, after dealing with loneliness, now you're saying here boldly, completing Him. Well, where is the audacity?
It's the truth.
Yes.
The audacity comes from the fact that I know it as a truth.
Yes.
You see, back to the conversation we had before, people clothe you with a cloak of themselves and a definition of, at your age, this is what you would be. At this point in your life, this is what you should be.
Yes.
But when you've been stripped to the bare minimum and you found yourself saying, I don't even have the confidence to mention who I am. Actually, who am I? Because who I am was defined by others. It is when that comes off you and you go back to the essence of really, who am I deep within? And what do I feel about myself? What do I know about myself? Not what other people tell me, but what I have known of myself. I know I'm a person who is capable of doing some things. I know I'm a person who is able to thrive or even to write a book like this. And that then only comes from the knower that you carry. For me, and in as much as there aren't many verses in this book, my Christian faith comes in really strongly. To know that the one who completes me and calls me complete is God. It's not the world. It's not the things I have that will complete me. No. I'm still a soul seeking for completion, and the only one who can complete me is God. And then stepping into that. Now, there's a difference between having something written and knowing it.
That's right.
So you have to come to the point of knowing it for yourself. And part of the knowing comes from self-affirmations, come from those moments of like, God, you have said, so why? And God has a very gentle way. He doesn't answer why questions. He doesn't. But He does give you a peace and understanding of like, Lord, you said you would never leave me nor forsake me. Why am I alone then? I'm not human, but I'm still here with you.
My grace will be sufficient.
I'm still here with you. So it is that conversation for me, and that was really very powerful. Especially back to the idea of, as a Christian woman who has a testimony, who has a what, and now having to go through this. And churches have a problem with that, because then you don't fit the mold. But then part of those issues are man-made. So then we go to the author. And the author himself, the same author who accepted prostitutes and embraced them, embraces me back. And maybe just a reminder, you had simply strayed trying to define yourself and to say you're somebody by what others call you. But maybe if you realized exactly who you are in me, you would settle. So it's the knowing without a doubt that regardless of the echo out there, that which is inside me is loud enough. And I would invite anybody to get to that space. It takes a lot of self-searching, soul-searching, so to speak. And even at times just looking at how do I come across like this, where I'm not confident. How do I come across like this when I'm confident? What is it about this that makes me confident? And you actually find that that confidence comes from within. So yes, I am complete in Christ.
Wow, that is very powerful. I like the perspective that you're giving to that, because as I said earlier, a lot of times it's tears and raising the questions of why, which sometimes the human mind does not know how to deal with. Thank you so much for bringing clarity to that. Now, the next two chapters, you talk about a seed sprouts, and then in chapter 9, talk about blossom. I want you to shed light on these two chapters together, because they are related. So, what is your message in these two chapters?
So a seed sprouts. Yes, we have acknowledged there's a death. We've also come to the point of saying something is different. And I have to see myself differently. It is that aha moment of like, yeah, can be different, yeah? I can do something. I don't have to sit in the sand anymore. Yes, I've been sitting here and feeling all very broken. But yeah, there's something I can do. Just that light bulb coming on is a seed in itself. And the beauty with this seed is that when that light bulb comes into a very dark space, you see the countenance change. Because there's a hope being born, being birthed deep within.
Yes.
There's a birthing of hope. There's a birthing of a recognition. I'm not condemned into this. I'm actually simply passing through. And the lessons that we pass through, we grow in them. So it's an element of growth as the seed is sprouting. And as you nurture it and water it, then even you stop and ask yourself, why was I feeling so bad about all this? Why was it so sad? And yes, it was sad, but then it was a season. It was a process that we had to go through. But you're not dwelling on the sadness. So you get to that moment where you're like, yeah, I'm here. I'm alone. But I'm here. Those moments where you couldn't go for a party or for an occasion because you're going to be alone and people will whisper things, then they will talk. No longer now catches you. There is that one that comes, will be like, I'll go because I want to go.
That's right.
And because I want to go, I will show up. Now you have come from the other extreme of the pain where you don't even want to show up. But now you show up, you blossom, you become a new person. And just like plants and flowers blossom with the sunlight, the more you nurture it, the more you step out in faith. And for the blossoming, let me say, it's pushing boundaries, even self-made boundaries. Am I prepared to really go out? Do I really want to go? Will I meet so-and-so in that place? What will so-and-so say or do? And you've got to have that conversation with yourself of like, I want to go, yeah? What happens in there, I don't really know, but I want to be there. So I'll show up. It might not go as well as you expected, but you've taken one step of showing up.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, you'll still show up again. And gradually, you're moving into a space, starting to own a space that you never thought possible. So it's that invitation to look into a different perspective of life and say, the door closed, but there's a window open. I could have some light coming in from the window, though not from the door.
Wow. What I hear you say is that despite all these things that may happen to life, there's an opportunity to sprout and to blossom again.
Oh, yes.
But somebody has a role to play.
Oh, yes.
You can't take your dead self there. Take some life there and it will blossom.
It will blossom.
I like
it
that.
will blossom. And for many people, they end up blossoming in ways they never knew. Why? Again, because the package that God gave you from the beginning still exists in you, and maybe you never utilized it.
That's so powerful.
Because you are in an environment that didn't allow that utilization. And so you are constrained by the environment you're in. But now, for a certain reason, you're a free bird. And so then you get to explore the different things without inhibitions. And you're like, I always dreamt I would do this when I was small. And that's what I am doing. It doesn't matter the age. You're fulfilling a dream.
That's quite powerful. And lastly, enter in. What is this about? After blossoming and I mean sprouting and blossoming, we are now climaxing with enter in.
Own the space. Own the space that's yours. Don't apologize for stepping in. You don't have to keep telling people, you know, I was once, Just step into that space and be you. It's actually carved for you. And you need to claim it. Because again, if you don't claim your own space, you're still allowing others to define you. Enter in and write the ending of your life, the story of your life. Own that story. Back to Brené Brown. Own your own story and step out and say, here I am. And I'm living my life as God ordained me to live. As the human being, complete human being that I am. You don't enter in while you're still telling yourself, what will others say?
Yes.
You don't enter in when you're still allowing definitions and boundaries of others. Now it's your opportunity to define it. Now it's your opportunity to give the boundaries you want to give. You only come this far.
Yes.
This is my space. And that rejuvenation of your spirit, of your mind, then opens doors that you'd stop and say, the world is your oyster. You've come through a grearing experience of life, but you've come through it. And if I did come through that, even this, I will shine in. So it's an invitation to the greater you. An invitation to acknowledge that you're not done yet. There is still a lemonade to serve the world that only you can serve. And without having to copy anybody's ingredients. You serve as your own, where your scars and your stars make it beautiful. I'm reminded of a broken glass. And when you look at broken glass, there is some beauty that comes from that crack when it's against the light. A beauty that you would not see if there wasn't that crack. It would look all homogeneous, all very round and beautiful. But there is beauty in imperfection. So it's stepping out in that imperfection and saying, imperfect, yes, but that imperfection makes my stars shine brighter. They help you to see what it is I have been able to go through, overcome, bring in my resilience in it. But on the other hand, the beauty that I can serve the world just because I had that experience myself. And I dare want to say that experience is one thing that nobody can take away from you. Neither is it one thing that people can pretend to have. So you can stand in your experience.
Yes.
To have that light shine on you and say, yes, this is the totality of the far I have come. The good, the bad, the ugly have brought me to this stage. And I own my stage. So enter in.
Wow. Oh, thank you so very much. I've been talking to Dr. Njeri Weru. As we finish, I just wanted to look at that camera and speak to the person who has been following this conversation now and just, breathe life into them because we are listening to somebody who's been through it and she seems to be glowing. Like I said earlier, you seem to be floating on top of it and blossoming. So speak life into the person and then we shall pull the curtains down on this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for following this conversation. Thank you for allowing me to pour myself out and to be heard. Thank you for being receptive even to the message that has gone out. I don't know what it is that you're going through or you ever went through. And I do pray that you will not need to go through a divorce, the pain of it. But if it does happen, this book is about what happens. While I do not advocate for divorce, and that comes up in the very first chapter, it simply says, when it happens to you, what do you do? And how do you rise from the ashes of it all to be who God made you to be? It is my prayer that this conversation gives you a sense of hope. It is not to belittle your pain. It is to honor that pain and to accept it. And that pain becomes a lesson that you can draw from. That pain becomes an experience that you can own as your own. But not to sit in it, but to rise above it. Allow yourself the time. Be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself. It's not an easy journey. But dear one, each day make a move. Each day promise yourself to move. And when you have that commitment to keep rising and moving, there'll come a time you will look back and you won't believe how far you've come. Because we are not stagnant. And remember, there are others on your side. There are others to cheer you on the journey that you are going through, because it's a journey, and a journey that we shall win by the grace of God. So thank you for giving me your audience.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Njeri Weru. That's all the time we had today for the talk. If you need a copy of the book and you're within Kenya, please visit Nuria Bookstore. If you Google them up, then in their website, search for the book, you will get it. If you're outside the Kenyan jurisdiction, you can also get a copy of this book from the Amazon. Dr. Ari, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It's been nice having you.
Thank you for spending the time with me. I'm grateful.
Well, thank you so very much.
Okay.
Thank you.